All right. Okay, lesson 15.3, net profit. Your objective today is to determine the net profit in dollars. Operating expenses. These are also known as your overhead. Overhead are the costs of running a business, such as wages and salaries of employees, rent, utility charges, and taxes. Okay? Got a couple formulas today. The first one being overhead, which is the selling price times the overhead percent. And then we have net profit, which is markup minus overhead. Okay? This lesson is just an add-on to what we've done the last 2 days. Okay? Finding markup, the markup rate. And today we're finding net profit using markup. All right, so go ahead and get this copied down. Press pause while you're doing so, and press play when you're ready to move on. Okay, hopefully everybody's got this done. We're going to go ahead and move along. This lesson's so easy, Ray Tedleaf could do it. Okay, example 1. Sports Shop purchases life jackets for $44.98 each. It sells the jackets for $89.99 each. The owner estimates the overhead expenses to be 40% of the selling price of the merchandise. What is the net profit on each jacket? Okay, so in order to find net profit, the first thing we've got to find is markup. My formula is markup minus overhead. Okay, so in order to find markup, we take the selling price of the jackets, which is $89.99, minus the purchase price, $44.98. Okay, that's the first part. Minus my overhead, and the formula for overhead that we were given was the selling price times the overhead rate, which in this case is 40%. Okay, so let's plug these in our calculator. $89.99 minus $44.98 is $45.01 minus $89.99 times 0.4, $36. Okay, so find the difference between those two, and you end up with $9.01 as the net profit on the jacket. Okay, pretty easy stuff. Let's go ahead and let's look at problems 1 and 2. Go ahead and try these on your own. Press pause while you're doing so, and press play when you're ready to see it worked. All right, so let's take a look at these. Number 1. It says the food processor costs $56 and sells for $140. The overhead is 50% of the selling price. They first want us to find the markup. Okay? So in order to find the markup, we need to take 140 minus 56. Okay, plug that in. 140 minus 56 is 84. Part B wants us to find our overhead. 140 times 0.5. Okay, 50%, that's $70. Okay, part C, our net profit. All you do is take the markup minus the overhead, right here, 84 minus 70, 14 bucks. Okay, that's number 1. Now, number 2, let me minimize this. Number 2, kitchen range costs $578.40, sells for $964. $964 minus $578.40. This is part A. Plug that in. $385.60. Okay, that is $385.60. All right. Now, part B wants us to find the overhead. 964 times 0.35 is $337.40. Find the difference between your two answers. and you get $48.20. All right, let's go ahead, let's move on. Okay, example 2. Just Diamonds operates on a 35% overhead based on the selling price, which results in an overhead of $62.99 on their signature tennis bracelet. If the bracelet costs Just Diamonds $38.75, find the selling price, the markup, and the net profit. Okay, so the first thing it's asking us to find is the selling price. So we're going to let X equal the selling price. Okay? So, part A, we're finding the selling price. If we know my overhead is $62.99, and the way you find your overhead is by taking the selling price times the overhead rate, 0.35x, divide both sides by 0.35. Okay? $62.99 divided by 0.35 is $179.97 equals X. Okay? Now that's going to be my selling price. Part B asks us to find the markup. The way you find your markup is you take your selling price, you take your selling price, which is $179.97, minus your cost. Bracelet costs $38.75. Pretty big markup on this. Plug it in the calculator. And you should get a markup of 141.22. Okay? Part C wants us to find the net profit. The way you find net profit is by taking the markup. Let's see. So we're looking for net profit here. Net profit's going to be markup of 141.22 minus your overhead, and the overhead is $62.99 minus $62.99. You get $78.23 for your net profit. Okay, let's go ahead and let's look at problem number 3 of your homework. Press pause while you work it and play when you're ready. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's work number 3. It says the corner deli operates on an overhead percent of 20% of the selling price, which results in an overhead of $1.25 on the company's private label bags of corn chips. The corner deli has a markup of $4.35 on the bags of corn chips. Find the selling price, the net profit, and the cost. Okay, so we're going to let X equal our selling price again. Okay, and we know from this that my overhead is $1.25 equals 0.2x. Divide both sides by 0.2. 1.25 divided by 0.2 is 625 equals X. That is our selling price. Part B wants us to find the net profit. Okay? Find the net profit, you take the markup, which is $4.35, minus your overhead, which is $1.25. So, $4.35 minus $1.25, $3.10 in net profit. Okay, finally, part C wants us to find our cost. Okay, we're gonna let C equal cost. Okay, so what formula? Think about what formula uses cost. We've got to use our formula for markup. Okay, because markup equals selling price minus cost. All right, so now if my markup is 435, markup equals selling price of 625 minus my cost. Okay? Subtract 625 from both sides. You end up with minus 1.90 equals negative C. Divide a negative 1 by both sides, you get C equals $1.90. Okay? $1.90 is my cost. Here's your assignment, lesson 15.3, page 564, 1 through 17, and 21. Get busy.